saving their best hockey for January. But tonight, Vancouver comes to town without their shooting star, Marcus Naslund. But they did bring the most wanted man in Colorado. Colorado and Vancouver, a rivalry that began in the 1996 Stanley Cup playoffs and has been swelling with intensity and at times hatred ever since, as tonight marks the 7th of 8 meetings this season between the Avalanche and Canucks. And you see how important this game is to the Northwest Division standings. All 5 teams in that division above 500, just 3 points separate the top 4 teams. Hello and welcome inside the Pepsi Center next to John Van Beesbrook. I'm Dan Kelly. It's great to have you along tonight for our NHL coverage right here on HDNet. One of the biggest stars for the Vancouver Canucks, Marcus Naslund, though unfortunately for Mark Crawford's bunch, will not be on the ice.
And it was just announced at the morning skate this morning, and I think that for the Vancouver Canucks are going to be very challenged without their captain, Marcus Naslund, who can dipsy-do with the best of them. Marcus Naslund's a big-time player in the National Hockey League, and his replacement, Jarkko Ruutu, is going to have to pick up where he left off.
How about Todd Bertuzzi? Big physical presence, also a man that could put the puck in the back of the net, John.
Yeah, probably one of the premier power forwards in the National Hockey League. You're going to see him in the goalie's face a lot. He's got a lot of speed, but most of all, Todd Bertuzzi is public enemy number 1 here in Colorado. I think that for Todd Bertuzzi, he has to use his energy, whether it's positive or negative. He's going to have to make sure that he's arriving at the net hard tonight.
Unfortunately for the Vancouver Canucks, they're also without their stud back on the blue line, big number 55, Ed Jovanovski.
Yeah, Eddie Jovanovski, a premier defenseman in the National Hockey League, and out with a groin injury and had a knee injury earlier, so he's plagued by injury trouble, but a big presence, carries a lot of presence as far as numbers and minutes played.
But the good news for the Vancouver Canucks, they have defenseman Sammy Salo, plays close to 25 minutes a night, 10 goals. He's got size, speed, and experience. What else more do you want, John?
Well, he's a very good power play specialist, too. He gets his shot through from the point, not always a slap shot. Sometimes he takes a step aside, but he does get that down to the players down low. So an excellent defenseman, Sammy Salo, has to make a big contribution tonight.
For the Colorado Avalanche, it's always a treat to watch the future Hall of Famer Joe Sakic. 561 goals, just moved past Guy Lafleur for 18th all-time in the NHL. What do you think makes Joe so special?
Well, Joe's still doing a lot of things right. Number 1 is his speed, and number 2 is his wrist shot. He still likes to come down to the right side and get that shot off the off wing, and that's what Alex Ahl, the net for the Vancouver Canucks tonight, is going to have to pay very close attention to.
Well, for the Avalanche, Marek Svatos, 29 goals, only trails Alexander Ovechkin for rookie goal scoring. He's doing it pretty quietly here in Colorado.
Yeah, a lot of talk in the league about Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, but he's a dynamic scorer right now with 29 goals and 11 on the power play. So they're looking for this player all the time on the power play.
Well, a player that Joel Quenneville has relied upon heavily, a good story, a kind of rags to riches story. Brett McLean being a force this year for the Avalanche.
Yeah, a quick, speedy forward, not a lot of size, but in the new NHL, he's able to jump up and be a darter. He can move the puck very well to his teammates, but when you create speed, it's very hard to defend against.
Well, both these teams have some speed. We know we're going to see some intensity tonight between the Avalanche and the Canucks from Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. The face-off is ahead on HDNet. And you'll notice no Marcus Naslund on that number 1 line for the Canucks.
And things will change around from those lines. The Sedin line will stay together, but as you look up top, the Morrison, Bertuzzi, and without Naslund on the left wing, they're trying Ruutu there.
For the Colorado Avalanche, without regulars Pierre Turgeon and Steve Konowalchuk, a lot of familiar names for the Avs.
Well, the Avs, too, have some interesting thing. One interesting player that's out is Pierre Turgeon. Pierre Turgeon's a dynamic guy, and so to create more scoring, they move players around, and we're going to see some different matchups here as the game progresses.
Check out the stories of this game between the Canucks and the Avalanche as the lights slowly coming on here inside Pepsi Center. And Vancouver, of course, they're without their biggest stud up front and back on the blue line. How they can overcome these injuries, John.
Right, and if you look there where you see the all #1 goaltender, you know, Dan Kuche was their #1 to start the season, and Alex Auld has really taken over nicely.
We're going to go to the ice level for tonight's national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all our sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Sellout crowd already rocking in Denver. The Vancouver Canucks in the midst of a 7-game road trip. They've dropped the first 3. If they want to get out of this funk, they need their main man, Alexander Auld, to pull them out of it.
They really do need Alex Auld tonight, but having a nice season, 20-13-3, and look at that save percentage at .908.
David Abisher, suffice to say, John Van Biesbroek having a pretty good January, going 8-2-0 in the month of January.
And only Marty Brodeur was better than him this month. And consistency is what they're looking for in young Abisher. But I think that for David, for him tonight, he's going to have to come up with a solid performance to lead his club. We've talked about other players, but it's going to be the guy in goal, David Abisher, that's going to have to lead his club.
Behind the Avalanche bench in his first full season as a head coach with Colorado, Joel Quenneville, a former Avalanche bench boss. Behind the Canuck bench, Mark Crawford. He was here in 1996 when Colorado captured their first ever Stanley Cup. His assistant was tonight's Avalanche coach, Joel Quenneville.
Yeah, Mark Crawford's team's challenged on the road. They're 10-15-2, so they got to put in one of their best efforts of the year.
Off the face-off, the Avalanche in the dark sweaters here at home, and a former Vancouver Canuck, Brad May, will shoot it in.
You got to take a look at Brad May, who's going to be physical here early. He wants to get under the skin of the Vancouver Canucks.
Wilsey Vonanen and Patrice Brisebois paired up on the blue line for Colorado. Linden redirects that shot wide from the point. And it's maneuvered back into Vancouver territory. Brookbank Fetchy pays the price as Bob Bugner was forechecking for Colorado. Shot right back in by Carlos Krastic.
One interesting stat that we didn't allude to in the opening was the fact that the Colorado Avalanche lead the league in first period goals with 70 versus 53 against.
And they have the benefit tonight of the big home crowd. Every time number 44 touches the puck for Vancouver, you will hear a loud chorus of boos, but just cheers when Super Joe has it. Joe Sakic in across the line with Loxton and Spatos. Sakic dancing, Salo on him, steals and shoots it out of play, does Sammy Salo.
And right now, Bertuzzi was out there with Kessler and Burrows, so we see Mark Crawford mixing up his lines already. And Joel Quinville, who does get the last change in this game, as we see a penalty here to Sammy Salo. Joel Quinville gets the last change. So Joel Quinville is the type of coach that likes to match lines. But we're on the power play here for the Colorado Avalanche.
Salo shot that puck over the glass. Must be a 2 minutes delay of game penalty on Sammy Salo. So the first power play of the evening goes to the Avalanche. Fourth best power play in the National Hockey League, converting close to 21% of the time. Marek Spatos, not surprisingly, leads the Avalanche with 11 power play goals this season. You see John Michael Lyles, a great quarterback out of Zionsville, Indiana. John Michael Lyles in through Michigan State.
Yeah, Lyles has really been on fire lately too. He has a lot of points in the last few games, and so pay attention to number 26 on the point, John Michael Lyles.
Avalanche beginning this power play, still a minute 35 to go. Matthias Olin right up the middle off the leg of Jarkko Ruutu down the ice.
And one thing for Vancouver, who now starts in the penalty box with a bad road record, you got to watch out for that.
Daniel Sedin's a nice back checking, failed clearing attempt. Spatos the keep in. Down low to Alex Tanguay. Spatos with Lyles. Blake also back on the point. Marek Spatos down to Tanguay. Sakic had a stick lifted. Lyles fires, and that's deflected wide by Spatos. Sedin up, not out. The strong keep in. It's Tanguay. 50 seconds to go in Colorado's power play. Marek Spatos, Joe Sakic. Blake is in front. Lyles shooting. That hits a leg in front. Lyles again. Vancouver penalty killers growing fatigue. Tanguay off a skated wide. Centered again, no one home on the point, and the Avs have to regroup.
And Vancouver did a wonderful job of not letting shots get through. I don't think Alex Auld made a stop there, so they kept the puck at the point so that Lyles couldn't rip that puck through.
15 seconds to go on the power play. Drilled in by Milan Hajduk. He's joined by Sakic and Brunette up front, and it's quickly flicked down the ice by Brookbank. A little over 3 minutes gone in this opening period. The first power play is over. Sammy Salo is out of the box. Still scoreless as Brett McLean saunters over the line. Hajduk down low. Brett Clark holding in. Brunette, a great passer. And his pass intended for Hajduk off a Canucks stick, and it dribbles back to center.
One player we didn't see out there on the power play for Colorado was Rob Blake, who possesses one of the hardest shots in the National Hockey League. So we saw Sakic back there. So that was a bit of an adjustment already.
Antti Laaksonen, covered by Brendan Morrison. Andrew Brunette returning to Laaksonen. Back to Brunette. Walks, fires, all the save, rebound. It was loose, but the whistle sounds as the referee lost sight of the puck. Here we go. Along the near wall, the Canucks and Avalanche, the first fight of this game. It's the former King, Ian LaPerriere, in the midst of it, and it's against big Brian Allen of the Vancouver Canucks. More of a wrestling match so far as the officials intervene.
Well, LaPerriere certainly not a shy player, and Brian Allen standing up at 6'4". Pretty competitive first period here so far, as we saw the Colorado Avalanche getting a good opportunity, and then Allen and LaPerriere squaring off there as Bertuzzi comes in to try to assist, but The referee says, get out of there. LaPerriere trying to set the tempo early, and Colorado, who just came through on their power play, is holding the play in their zone, in Vancouver's zone.
Vancouver penalty, number 5.
Shots 2-0 in favor of the Avalanche as they had the benefit of that failed power play. Patrice Brisebois.
Time of the penalty is 4 minutes of the first period.
Working it down low.
5 minutes each, fighting at 4 minutes.
Brad May, wrap around, all down. The save on Brad May.
Auld really looking sharp here early, holding on to that puck. As we see here, May coming around the net, and Auld anticipating the jam play with 3 Canucks there to help out. So Vancouver blocked a couple shots. They're having to play a little bit defensively right now as this first period with 15 minutes left to play.
Brett McLean up front of this Avalanche line with Alex Tanguay and Antti Laaksonen. McLean tossed out of the face-off. Laaksonen will take it. The Canucks control. Tanguay rips it right through the crease. Blake will pound it in. McLean can't maneuver it in front. And Anson Carter and the Vancouver Canucks break away. Daniel Sedin centers. Abisher boots it aside. Carter on the rebound. Carter works it in front, dribbles back to the point. Steve McCarthy down to Carter. All alone. Sedin, the shot, he had his stick lifted by Alex Tanguay, or perhaps it's 1-0 Vancouver.
That was a good play by Alex Tanguay to sense the pressure down low, because the Sedins with Anson Carter were sensing a goal there.
Lyles right up the middle. Joe Sakic. A British Columbia boy, Sakic. Racing after it. Brendan Morrison will steer it ahead to Jarkko Ruutu. And Vancouver right now content to get to the center. That's all they do. Svantos' shot blocked by Olin. You hear the boos for Todd Bertuzzi. Just his presence on the ice. He hasn't even gained possession of it on this shift.
Well, I think the fans saw him come down and try to give a shot to Svantos. So the one thing that the Colorado fans have to understand is that Todd Bertuzzi's 230 pounds.
And he showed it there, knocking down Bob Bugner. Bob Bugner tried to knock him down. Jarkko Ruutu, Sammy Salo. Abisher spits out a big rebound, but right to the burgundy and blue Colorado Avalanche. Across the line, Bugner, May. That's a couple feet wide. Brisebois' shot also blocked. And Vancouver's Ryan Kessler racing in. He's pulled down, perhaps trying to help a call, but the referees do not respond. And it's Kessler and the Vancouver Canucks. Shipping it back to center. Ossi Vannanen redirected in by Dan Heino. 13 and a half minutes to go in the opening period. Hayduk and the Avalanche will be shorthanded for the first time. A hooking penalty coming up to Colorado when we return. Down to 13:26 to go in this first period. Vancouver will be on the power play when we come back.
Official gas and convenience store of the Colorado Avalanche.
13:26 to go in this first period. Check out the penalty here on Milan Hayduk there on the forecheck.
Yeah, it looked like Baumgartner was going down anyway, but he felt the pressure from Hayduk as he tried to lift the stick of Nolan Baumgartner. So Vancouver goes on the power play for the first time tonight, and watch number 44 standing in front of the net. Milan Hayduk knew it. He skated right to the box. As we take a look at Todd Bertuzzi.
Bertuzzi, some veteran presence on this power play unit for Vancouver. Morrison and Linden back on the points. It's Steve McCarthy and Sammy Salo.
Time of the penalty, 6 minutes, 34 seconds of the first period. 2 minutes hooking at 6:30.
And it's McCarthy out of his own end. This 5-on-4 power play underway.
And as you can see, McCarthy coming out from behind his net there. He's not their number one guy carrying the puck back there. Usually they'd have Matthias Noland or Ed Jovanovski or maybe even a forward on the point, but they're using McCarthy there tonight because they have to.
Blake up the boards, kept in by McCarthy. Rob Blake will try it again. Can't push it out of the zone. Linden, McCarthy shooting, and that knocks Abisher back as there was some traffic in front.
And that was Bertuzzi in front of the net, that big body. Abisher was pushed right back onto his backside.
Bertuzzi passing to the wrong team, and Blake will clear it.
And as they go for a change, the Colorado Avalanche have to do a better job of blocking pucks because that one got through, and that's a dangerous play when you get big bodies in front of the net.
Sedin forechecking twin brother Daniel. Finds it along the wall. 40 seconds left in the Vancouver 5-on-4 advantage. Olin the drive ripped wide. Sedin. Baumgartner slid back to Daniel Sedin. His shot blocked by Brisebois. Punch to the line, not out. Olin over to Henrik Sedin. Baumgartner straight away. Henrik to Daniel. Returning to Henrik. Off a skate. Loxinen will carry it short-handed. Sakic streaking down the wing, but he'll peel back as he didn't have any support.
And Joe Sakic goes down the left side. He doesn't like to shoot the puck. If he was on the other side, he would have shot it.
Over the line, Burrows back for Kessler, broken up by Blake. Power play for Vancouver is over. Blake the shot, and Alexander Auld holds on to it.
Well, that was good pressure by the Vancouver Canucks down low. The Sedins like to work the circle and put Anson Carter in front. But let's take a look at this shot by McCarthy. And Bertuzzi's in front, and Abisher goes down on his backside, tries to scissor Bertuzzi's leg and keep him there, but maybe a little bit of an embellishment by Abisher.
Hope you're enjoying a system that will revolutionize high-definition hockey coverage. Cable camera, a moving cable-based camera, tracking with the live action. So far, it's pretty spectacular, a different view.
Yeah, it's a state-of-the-art shot as we take a look at the cable camera right there. State-of-the-art and hopefully going to grow and revolutionize and help revolutionize this as how we take a look at the game from a high-definition standpoint.
A lot of people have tried it for replays here during the live action. Hopefully it will overcome some of the obstacles in shooting hockey as we have an offside with 11:04 remaining in this opening period.
As we take a look at number 15, Andrew Brunette. Andrew Brunette's another guy that you have to pay close attention to down low in front of the net. He's one of the guys that's called a post-up winger. Scores most of his goals from the goal line and in around the net.
And a double threat is Andrew Brunette. Also soft touch. He's a great setup man. Brisebois will touch it. Icing to the faceoff and move back inside the Vancouver zone.
Well, we've had a fast-paced game so far to this point, and now with 10:52 to go in the first period, you see the pace of the game slowing down a little bit. That works for the opposing team. Joel Quenneville probably senses, hey guys, we got to step the tempo up again. We just killed off a pretty good penalty. All kills are good kills, but we killed off a penalty. Let's go back to work down low where we're so effective.
Blake right off the faceoff. And there to block it was Green as Lyles will touch it first. And again, it's an icing on Vancouver.
And Josh Green paid the price there. When number 4, Rob Blake, cranks it up, you either want to get out of the way or you got to hurry up and get in the way so your padding can block it. But Josh Green sacrificed himself. Rob Blake, 9 goals, 28 assists. Having a decent year. He logs a lot of ice time. Been known for being a high-plus player.
Lyles, quick shot. And the pad stop from Alex Auld. Trevor Linden in across the line. It's Green, but behind the plate, Lyles taking down a Vancouver Canuck, Tyler Belk, so it's an offside on the Canucks.
And Lyles is known for a quick shot as we take a look at the puck coming back to the point to Lyles. He bobbles it a little bit, but gets a quick shot off. And watch Alex Auld kick that right leg out, make a save. Now that There's a good quick save, and as you can see, some people would say that that's a bad rebound, but if your player gets it and goes the other way, as long as you stop the puck, there's no such thing as a bad rebound.
So are you sometimes, before you make that save, thinking what you want to do with the puck when you make the stop?
Right, you want to know you can put it into a specific area. As we have a penalty here called. Dan Mirowelli, backside referee. Let's wait and hear what he has to say. Here comes Burrows coming through. Gets a little hold up by Clark, and I'm sure that's what Dan Mirowelli called. So Vancouver goes on the power play. You can't hold guys up anymore like that, so Vancouver looking to take control here with another opportunity on the power play with Morrison and Ruutu and Bertuzzi and Sammy Salo and McCarthy on the point.
Brett Clark receiving a 2-minute minor for interference. Morrison centers it in front. Sammy Salo, the wrist shot. Todd Bertuzzi will take it. Minute 35 to go on the power play. Abisher the save.
And this is where having Naslin is so good, because Bertuzzi was on the half wall there. He's not that type of player. He's not a quarterback on the power play or a half wall guy. He's in front. That's where Naslin usually would be. So he took a bad shot, low percentage from the half wall over there.
Steve McCarthy drives it in. A weird hop off the glass. Jarko Ruutu. Bertuzzi back to Ruutu. Swept up the boards, kept in. Salo the drive off the leg of Abisher. Todd Bertuzzi. Back on the point. Salo the high shot. Juggled by Abisher. Rebound loose. Ruutu fights for it. Skrastich wins that battle. Can't clear. Ruutu deflects it wide. Skrastich and the Avalanche need a clear. Patrice Brisebois jarring it loose. Brisebois on the backhand. Just stays in play. What a clear by the veteran Brisebois.
Yeah, what a clear, but he's wiping his brow as he goes to the bench because he didn't want that puck to go out and to put his team down 5-on-3.
A gutsy clear because he puts it up high off the glass on the backhand as Lyles on the forehand can't sweep it out. Baumgartner to Olin, down to Carter. 12 seconds left in the power play. Henrik Sedin. Daniel in front, just tips it wide. Olin holds it in, pushing it down to Carter. Again, it's Daniel Sedin, Henrik Sedin. Clark is out of the box. Abisher the stop on Daniel Sedin. He didn't have to be brilliant during that penalty kill to David Abisher, but he makes a stop there to keep this game scoreless. Down to 8:09 to go in the first period. The Canucks and Avalanche, no score.
Back at the Pepsi Center here in Colorado. Watch one Sedin passes to the other Sedin. Henrik waits for the lane to open. Daniel goes to the net, right there a tip, and Abisher out at the top of his crease is able to hold on. That's not flashy, but for David Abisher, that's what consistency is all about. He gapped out to the top of his crease, was in the right place, and held on to the puck. That's what you want from control. That's what you call control from your goaltender.
Something Joel Quenneville. Joel Quenneville talked about. That's been the difference for David Abisher here in January. His patience, his rebound control, and of course his team playing better in front of him is there. It's cleared away by Bieksa. Kept in at the line, only for a bit by Vonanen as Matthias Olin out to center. Jarko Ruutu will tap it in.
And now we see Ruutu back with Kessler and Burrows. So Mark Crawford switching it up again.
Penalty coming up to Vancouver, I believe, on Alex Burrows there on the forecheck. Won't make Mark Crawford happy, the Vancouver head coach. A penalty in the offensive zone on the forecheck, much like we saw on Avalanche forward Milan Hajduk a couple minutes ago.
Minor penalty, holding, number 14.
They call him for a hold. It could have been a slash. Either way, Dan, as you alluded to, it's an offensive zone penalty. Anytime you're taking offensive zone penalties, you're not really being patient or thinking, and it gets your coaches upset, that's for sure, because most of the penalties you want to take are getting rid of scoring opportunities.
From the face-off, Blake to Spatos.
And here's Blake at the point now. So back to a switch. Blake and Sakic on the point here. So they want to get some shots through from Blake. I think the theme is going to be give it to Sakic and then back over to Blake for a big shot.
Spatos over the line. Tanguay to Blake, snapping it wide. Minute 25 left in the power play, and Vancouver successful clear.
Well, we talked about Spatos and a lot of other players, but the one guy we haven't talked about much is Alex Tanguay, who's leading his team with 60 points, 22 goals, so they got to be looking for him a bit too.
Lyles down to Sakic. Returning to Lyles. Off the end boards, taken by Spatos. Blake is standing in front again on the power play, looking for the centering feed, taken by Morrison and cranked down the ice.
Yeah, they look a little disjointed by putting Blake down there. They're trying something new in order to create some traffic in front of Alex Auld. I think they have a lot of respect for Auld and his size and his ability to play.
Salo off the boards and out. Does Alexander Auld, compared to other goaltenders, play pretty deep in his crease, John?
Yeah, Alex Auld looks like a young Marty Brodeur, actually. He's got a lot of mannerisms. He holds his glove the same way a lot, and he really is a presence in there, and becoming a real strong goalie for Vancouver. He makes a save there out at the top of his crease, holds on to the puck. You know, those are the things that look so simple but are so hard.
And there, it reminded me last week of watching Kerry Lettinen. He has the ability to make a save look easy, not flashy, but pretty effective.
Well, and that's what, again, talking about Marty Brodeur, that's what he's done for such a long time. And you can build confidence and consistency from doing those types of things.
Still 12 seconds left in the Avs power play. There's Blake from a familiar spot. His slap shot deflected over the crossbar. Lyles into the belly of Olin, and he'll rip it down the ice as an Avalanche player, John Michael Lyles, slow to get up.
Well, I think they got Kessler for maybe even a spear on Lyles, as Lyles is shaken up as he goes off.
Delayed penalty, and now it's called. The Avalanche will go right back on the power play when we return to Denver, Colorado. The Canucks and the Avalanche are scoreless as John Michael Lyles is hurting.
Back at the Pepsi Center here in Colorado. 0-0 Vancouver and Colorado. And here we see Ryan Kessler's stick come up right here and hit Lyles in the face, and oh, he goes down, and Kessler knew as soon as the stick grazed his face, he tried to get off the ice, but it was a 4-minute penalty, double minor for high sticking. So the Avalanche have a great opportunity here to take the first period before they go to the dressing room. And for Vancouver, there's not much you can say. They're on the road. You can't be doing those things. You have to know where your sticks are, it's called awareness. You have to know all those things. But a young Ryan Kessler in the box for 4 minutes.
Huge power play, to say the least. A little over 5 minutes to go in this opening period. No score. Josh Green on the forecheck, but the Avalanche on the move, led by Sakic. Blake fires, and the stop. He came out to challenge Rob Blake there. Marek Spatos, 29 goals on the season, down to Joe Sakic. Right in front, denied by Auld. Sakic again. Spatos trying to kick it in front. Green looking for the entryway out of the zone, and it just leaks by Blake.
A good play by Green to find a place to get the puck out of the zone, because they were desperate, because they have to make a change here. Here's the change.
1 minute gone in the 4-minute power play for Colorado. Salo, Cooley redirects it ahead, and Henrik Sedin will shoot it in deep.
On the flip side of this power play is the penalty killing. If Vancouver can get out of the period not giving up a goal, it'll be a big boost for them.
McLean lays it in softly, joined by Joe Sakic and Milan Hajduk up front. Brisebois back on the point for Colorado, along with Bob Bugner. Bugner, the wrist shot. Score! Bugner from 50 feet out.
And I think Brett McLean's going to get credit for it, as Bugner does something very simple. Watch Brisebois here cradle the puck and go D to D over to Bugner, who just sends the puck to the net. Oh, and there's Brunette. Andrew Brunette with the tip. Just a simple play to get the puck through, and Brunette tips the puck in. And a simple play is most effective. Coaches talk about that all the time. Let's get the puck to the net. And Andrew Brunette is so good at redirecting the puck. He's got a good stick. He's a veteran player. He's got 36 points on the year. He's got his 37th there, 37th point. Nice little simple play. And now as the plays stall down and they're going upstairs for probably the reason is how the penalty clock is going to come down, because it was a double minor to Ryan Kessler.
Perhaps also just double checking that stick, even though it wasn't, but to make sure it wasn't above the crossbar.
That's true. Good point, man. Making sure on all those things. So obviously somebody upstairs wanted to call down just to make sure and double check.
Referees tonight, Dan Maruelli, Dan O'Halloran, linesman Steve Barton, and Lonnie Cameron. And here, where was the stick of Andrew Brunette? It looked low initially.
Oh, yeah. It's well below the shoulder, which is the benchmark of what they're going to call a high stick. All really can't do anything. He was playing the initial shot coming in. And when a puck gets redirected like that, there's not a whole lot you can do. Now, the goal's counting. Andrew Brunette's 14th goal of the year. As we see Maruelli talking it over and making sure with the linesman. But an important part to the game here with 3:46 to go in the first. A huge goal for the Colorado Avalanche.
And of course, they're still on the power play for another 2 minutes. Milan Hajduk centering to Brunette, too well covered. As Andrew Brunette, that goal of 14th of the season. Bugner and Brisebois with the assist. Rob Blake quarterbacking out to McLean. Stood up there. Nice Salo. A gutsy yet effective defensive stance by Sammy Salo.
16-14.
Hajduk right back over the blue line. Still a 5-on-4 power play for 1:25 for the Avalanche. Approaching the final 3 minutes of the opening period, and Olin will clear.
Well, Vancouver has to go right back to work here to make sure it doesn't get to a 2-goal game. We said in the beginning of the telecast that the Colorado Avalanche lead the league in first period goals, and here they're up 1-0.
Spatos fires, rebound, all the stops, still loose. Sakic couldn't control it. Vancouver does first. And Bieksa looks like a veteran there with the composure to carry it out of the zone and dump it in.
How about the quick stick of Spatos there as he cut to the net, and Alex Auld had to make 2 big saves.
Marek Spatos to Brisebois. Tanguay, Spatos the trailer, goes to Sakic, couldn't handle it. Half a minute to go on the power play. The pass flubbed by Skrastich. Trevor Linden 1 against 2. Off the bench, it's Sedin. Takes it to the net, but runs out of ice. Olin shoots, scores! Matthias Olin. A lethal wrist shot, blows it by Abisher. We're tied at 1, a huge shorthanded goal for Vancouver.
And that brings the crowd here at Pepsi Center quiet as Sedin over to Olin, and a great wrist shot beating Abisher as he's coming out to the stick side. Watch this wrist shot as it's off the post. Beautifully placed shot by Matthias Olin, but what a play by Sedin as he turned up towards the boards, and Matthias Olin, sensing that, came in from the weak side and was able to tie the game up here 1-1. What a turn of events.
Off the face-off, Colorado immediately shoots it in. 10 seconds to go in this power play as Vancouver short-handed goal from Matthias Olin has quieted down this building. Blake hit check there on Henrik Sedin. Daniel maintains control. Baumgartner firing, blocked in front. Todd Bertuzzi, usual greeting. Henrik Sedin perched along the wall. Daniel too well covered. And Ian LaPerriere outlets to Richardson on to Loxodon. Skrastich slowly over the blue line. LaPerriere's pass blocked down to his knees. Sedin chops it ahead to Ruutu, and Vancouver will lob it back to neutral territory. You hear the boos every time Bertuzzi touches it. Stemming back from his attack in March of 2004 on Steve Moore, who is yet to play hockey again, as David Abisher making the save that night. The Avalanche pummeled the Vancouver Canucks, who was here at Pepsi Center, and Milan Hajduk that evening perhaps had to quiet his hat trick in NHL history.
Well, here we see the replay of a shot just getting the puck to the net, which is going to be the theme tonight as this game wears on, especially with a minute to go in the period.
Face-off, Brunette. Hajduk. One-on-one, Olin standing up. Milan Hajduk. Sakic. Back out in front, and Todd Bertuzzi and the Vancouver Canucks will shoot it in. .25 seconds to go in this opening period. Allen touching it, icing on the play.
Well, with 19.7 seconds left in the period, Vancouver is going to get out of this period at least 1-1. And that is a big first period on the road, not known for being a good road team. Your captains in the dressing room looking on, couldn't play tonight. Be a huge lift for the Vancouver Canucks.
Baumgartner, Allen. Snapshot is blocked. 10 seconds to go in the period. May, Skrastich. 2 seconds, May will not attempt to take that long shot as the first period comes to a close. And a familiar theme that we've seen throughout this National Hockey League season, special teams were a huge factor in the first 20.
Yeah, well, we talked about the battle in the Northwest, and as we take a look at some of these clips, it's always the third line guys that come through for you, as Bobby Bogner just puts the puck to the net, and Matthias Olin, who just rips it off the post to tie the game 1-1.
The fun on HDNet will continue. We'll check out news around the NHL, talk with the man nicknamed Lappy, that and much more. Between periods 1 and 2 from Denver, Colorado, the Vancouver Canucks score a shorthanded goal. The Colorado Avalanche score a power play goal. Is pretty good clip.
And ace. You know, one guy who you wouldn't expect to see out on the power play is Bob Bogner, who got an assist on the goal by Andrew Brunette. And I have to stand corrected because my old school tells me that it was the shoulder and down, but as you corrected me, Dan, it's the crossbar and down, which is a new rule in the new NHL. So I stand corrected.
That is the barometer to determine whether a puck was hit in or redirected in with a high stick, but obviously the Avalanche player Andrew Brunette on that redirection, his stick was not raised above the crossbar, so we stand at 1-1 after 20 minutes. And you talked about that big goal from the Colorado Avalanche, who was on the power play. A little over 3 minutes to go in that first period. Andrew Brunette, the redirection off the shot from Bob Bugner, and we're pleased to be joined by Bob Bugner of the Colorado Avalanche. Bob, when you got that puck on the blue line during the power play, what was the mindset?
Well, I know, obviously, I don't get out there much on the power play, and, Coco Kuche told me just if I get it, get it through, get it to the net, and I did, and Bruno was there for a great tip, so just keeping it simple and getting everything at the net.
Bob, you've played some forward now, back on D. What are some of the adjustments you have to make from playing forward to defenseman now?
Well, it's a major adjustment, and I, to be honest with you, it took me quite a while to adjust. But it's just knowing where to be at the right times and where to be on the ice, and not so much. At first I think I was just over skating and trying to be an energy guy and try to be everywhere at once. And it's you can slow it down and think a little more and conserve your energy.
As you go into the room now for the second period, what emphasis do you have to put on for the second here in a 1-1 game?
Well, we didn't ever want to get scored on the last couple minutes of the period. We let a shorthanded goal there. It was a simple 1-on-2, and it turned into a goal. So we're not happy with that, but we got to keep the energy up. We got to get better on our special teams. Even though our power play scored there, our top couple of units need to bear down, and we got to get more shots at this guy. Trafficking shots.
Bob, thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Bob Bugner of the Colorado Avalanche. They're tied with the Vancouver Canucks at 1 apiece through one period of play as they resurface the ice here in Denver. We'll have much more when we return on 8.
I'll take it now. I appreciate it.
On your way in or out of the arena, remember to stop by the XL Energy Power Zone outside section 102.
The Avalanche and the Canucks are tied at 1 after 20 minutes of play. Welcome you back. Don't forget we're going to be giving an autographed jersey later on in this game. An Avalanche sweater signed by Ian LaPerriere, brought to us by the good folks at the Hockey News. There you see Ian LaPerriere, always a force for these Colorado Avalanche. Just log on to hd.net, and of course we'll be choosing a winner at random. He's kind of shown a different dimension to his game this year, John, with the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, Ian LaPerriere has made a big, significant change to his game, and that's in the points department. Ian LaPerriere is a factor in front of the net, on the side of the net, and all around the net. He's tipping in pucks, and as you saw in the first period, though, he's a physical presence as well because he got in a fight in that period.
You check out what's going on around the National Hockey League, or NHL news and notes, and it's always a busy time of the year here, just a couple weeks before the Olympic break, and a great player. We've seen so many great players leave the game, and Ronnie Franchise, as they call him, a former Hartford Whaler and Carolina Hurricane. Ronnie Francis, his number 10 being retired tonight in Carolina.
Yeah, Ronnie Francis was the franchise player for the Hartford Whalers, and then moved on to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but went back to the Carolina Hurricanes, and very deservedly hanging a sweater in the rafters tonight in Carolina. Exciting time for Ron.
Well, one day this man's jersey is going to be hanging in the rafters. Joe Sakic moves past Guy Lafleur on the goal scoring list, now 18th all time. It's going to be interesting to see how far Super Joe can climb. Right now, active players in front of him, only Yzerman, Robitaille, Shanahan, and Jaromir Jagr.
That's some pretty good company, but Joe's been a quiet leader for a long time, but one stat that's not up there is that he's 12th on the all-time list in scoring as well, so real class act, and his name will be and number will be in the rafters here at the Pepsi Center one day.
Marty Brodeur, tremendous resume, 3 Stanley Cups. He's done so much in New Jersey, and he is going to be a richer man. A nice contract extension. It'll bring him to 40 years old with that 6-year contract extension.
Well, the philosophy by Lou Lamoriello was try to keep his guys in his organization as long as they can. And we talk about jerseys hanging up in the rafters. Scott Stevens and Ken Danico going up this year, and Marty Brodeur will be there, but signs a 6-year extension, wants to stay in the New Jersey area, has his kids there and whatnot. So it's a big commitment to a team that has stuck by him and been loyal for good reason.
Well, Ian LaPerriere broke in with the St. Louis Blues. He was a loyal Los Angeles King for many years. Now in his first season with the Colorado Avalanche, and things are more than good right now for Ian LaPerriere. We had a chance to catch up with him before tonight's tilt.
Ian, 12th season in the National Hockey League. How is life in Colorado here in year number 1?
I love it. It's great. Everything worked out perfectly for me and my family, off the ice, on the ice, and it's a lot of fun. You know, change is good, they say sometimes, and so far it's been really good to me. The organization's taking care of me and my family. It's great.
You've changed teams before, but is it tough walking into a room with the Sakic's, Blakes, the Haydukes, the names go on that have been there for a while?
I know. You know what? That's why they won here before, because those leaders are great, and they're just normal guys. They love the game. They just want to play, and these are the guys that are most approachable here. You know, they want you to jab them. They want you to be, you know, even if they're all famous, they just want you to, you know, be just a regular guy. They just want to be regular guys, and I think that's what's great. When your leaders are like that, everybody has to be a good guy around them.
Here it is in late January. You already are in the midst of career highs in goals and points and in assists. What is it? Has your role been different here in Colorado from LA?
Probably. You know, like I play with maybe more offensive time with the offensive players. I play with great players all year, like Walchuk, Brunette, Laxton, and now I'm playing with Tanguin, McLean. Those guys create a lot of things on the ice. You know, when you work hard, you know, good thing happens, and I'm fortunate enough to be at the right place at the right time when these guys work hard. And with the new rules too, you know, it's a little bit more open. I didn't know it was going to open my game, but it did a little bit, and I know it's just I'm having fun, and you're built on that, and you know, I never set goals before the year, you know, goal and assist, but I'll take whatever come my way, I guess.
Fighting down over 40%. You have 8 fighting majors this season. Do you think we're going to ever see the fights come back to like we saw in you know, the days of yesteryear?
I don't think so, because you know, like the game's much faster right now. You can hook, you can, you know, battle back, and those guys who were only there for fighting, you know, if they can't play, they won't be around, you know, because you need to be able to keep up with the game. And those guys, you still have guys like George Roy who can't play. You still have a bunch of guys out there who still can't play, Simon in Calgary, but those guys were only, you know, one dimension. I think it's dinosaurs. You won't see those guys anymore. And, you know, people want more goals. They have more goals, and that's what they were complaining before. Well, you know, we respond to what our fans want. They want more goal, and that's what happened this year.
How about the players? Do you enjoy watching the game more when you get a chance?
Oh yeah, you know what? It's a lot more fast. Like I said, it's a lot faster, and guys are making plays right now where before they had a stick and they couldn't make those plays. And we watch Svatos every night here, and that's exactly in his bread and butter. He doesn't have a stick on him. Every night he's just making those moves, and you know, every team's got 1 or 2 guys like that. It's fun to watch. It's a fun game.
Ian, you just missed head coach Joe Quenneville in St. Louis. This is your first year under him in Colorado. What's he like as a leader?
He's, you know what, he's great. He played the game, you know exactly. He wears his emotion on his sleeve, which, you know, I'm all for it. If you get a bad shift, you get a bad game, you'll know. You'll hear about it, but he'll give you another chance. You'll be out there the next shift. But he's, you know, he wants you to work hard, and if you do work hard, you know, you'll be in his good book, I guess, and that's where you want to be as a player.
Well, you're in our good books. Thanks a lot for the time.
Thank you.
That's Ian LaPerriere, the assistant captain of the Colorado Avalanche, the NHL. In just a couple minutes, we'll return on HDNet.
The Avalanche and Canucks deadlocked at 1. 20 minutes are done here inside Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. So how did the scoring happen in that first period? Well, over 16 minutes into the opening period, Andrew Burnett and the Colorado Avalanche on the power play. I was a little surprised, John, the first time I said the name Bob Bugner from the point on the power play, but he proved to be effective.
Well, here we see Andrew Brunette coming around the net. Was it a very effective player that period, but Alex Auld met the task there. And Ian LaPerriere, 2 combatants with Brian Allen going at it here. Ian LaPerriere making his presence known. Then from the point, McCarthy past Bertuzzi, who was there knocking on the door of Abisher. And Hayduk walking the circle as he does so well and slips a shot through, but Alex Auld there once again for the Vancouver Canucks. And then the inadvertent stick to John Michael Lyles in the 4-minute double minor as Dan Mariueli takes a look to see if it's 4 minutes, and fortunately for Lyles, he was wearing that visor, but still carved up pretty good.
And here's that power play goal I was talking about, started by Bob Bugner on the point.
And as Bob alluded to, assistant coach was just talking to him about getting the puck to the net. Jacques Luce says, keep it simple. Get that puck to the net, and Andrew Brunette redirects it.
And that's what Vancouver did on their shorthanded bid. Matthias Olin, an underrated shot, John. You faced it on many a nights.
And a great wrister beats Abisher as he comes way out of the net, but Matthias Olin, who has one of the hardest wrist shots in the league, makes it a 1-1 game. And as we take a look at some of the stats, shots on goal 10-8, scoring chances 3-2 for the Avs as we go to the second period.
And we are off. Game back on. Second period. Both teams begin this middle period at full strength. The Avalanche in the dark sweaters. Milan Hajduk failing to move it out. Josh Green back for Linden. His wrist shot changing directions, guided to the corner by the defense. And Milan Hajduk will blindly angle it back into Vancouver territory. Icing as it's touched first by Bieksa.
Well, the theme for the second period here in these divisional combatants in the Northwest is going to have to be winning the battles for the loose puck. A lot of times what happens is you lose focus on that, but that's how you win championships here, as Colorado won a couple so far.
Morrison losing this face-off. Richardson wins it back. And Milan Hajduk helps the cause to get it back out to center. Steve McCarthy, former Chicago Blackhawk. He doesn't have much confidence coming over from Chicago. McCarthy, especially now Jovanovski out, seeing the ice more and hopefully can regain the confidence. Pretty talented defenseman. Spatos will tip it in. Salo pursued by Sakic. Morrison, Todd Bertuzzi roaming the ice for Vancouver along with Jarkko Ruutu up front with the two big boys here, Brennan Morrison and Todd Bertuzzi. You see the great looks from the cable cam. And it's maneuvered back to center.
That cable camera is an unbelievable look. The more I look at it, the better I like it.
LaPerriere centering out of the reach of Loxton. And as that camera that you're seeing oftentimes, the moving cable-based camera. Daniel Sedin swooping in. Shot, Abisher, save, rebound off the back of the post.
Boy, the Colorado Avalanche really going to have to pay attention to Henrik and Daniel Sedin with Anson Carter, because this line has created a lot of offense so far in this game. Their twisting and turning and predictability to each other is awesome. Let's take a look at this again as the Sedin twins get the puck behind the net, and Daniel swoops behind and tries to go from a bad angle. But they certainly know where each other are on the ice, and I think that Anson Carter is a very good complement.
Tyler Belk centers. Kessler couldn't get a clean shot away. Ian LaPerriere hit from behind by Kessler along the near boards. When it goes on, Kessler a solid keep in. Ryan Kessler down low.
And that's going to get everybody's hair up on the bench. We see the Vancouver bench standing up because of that hit, because LaPerriere is not a well-liked player. Already got in a fight against Allen. And here we go again.
LaPerriere going at it with Ryan Kessler, the man who hit him from behind, and they just start chucking him. LaPerriere landing some big rights on the helmetless Ryan Kessler. Uppercut, jab, down goes. Ryan Kessler compliments of Ian LaPerriere.
Well, Ryan Kessler, not a fighter, but showing some willingness there for his team, and LaPerriere is pointing, saying, I got hit from behind and you're going to pay the price. Here's the hit. Kessler comes in. LePerriere, oh, it's an elbow. As Kessler threw the elbow coming in. And not a fighter, Kessler, just a young player coming out of Ohio State, where in NCAA hockey there's very little fighting. And LePerriere tags him with a couple shots, so that'll get everybody on both benches worked up.
Well, we spoke to Ian LePerriere about fighting in today's National Hockey League, and Ian LePerriere has shown tonight at least that it's not a completely dead facet of the NHL.
No, and Ian LePerriere knows how important this game is, and that's the type of player that is Ian LePerriere. We talked about his goal scoring, that he scored 15 goals this year now, but that's the type of play you can expect from Ian LePerriere. Now he's had 2 fights. If you have 3 fights, you're thrown out of the game, so he's going to have some support from his teammates now.
Carlos Strastinch back on the blue line for the Avs. Tanguay off Asfato, save Ald, and he also takes care of Joe Sakic from a tight angle.
Nice saves by Alex Ald as he made it look simple, as you alluded to earlier in the telecast, Dan. But watch Alex Ald as the nifty work by the Colorado Avalanche, just tipping pucks to the net. Joe Sakic getting a weak rebound attempt, but Ald, square to the puck, is able to hold on.
What a cool overhead look.
Oh man, that is just awesome.
Alex Tanguay darts back and forth off the stick of Ald. Brunette, the shot, and Ald there with the left pad.
I don't know if it's just me, Dan, but are his legs quick? They're just flashing out at these shots.
Blake fires off the glass. Rebound bouncing. Ald stops McLean's drive. McLean again hits traffic in front. Poked ahead. Loose puck. Carter in. Shoots. Oh, he had Abisher beat. Catches the side of the goal. And Tanguay trying to slow this pace down. Wheels it to center. McCarthy draws a penalty. Green the shot. Save Abisher. Extra skater on. Delayed penalty on Colorado. Towards the empty net. Just wide of the goal.
That would have counted. Just redirected off a player. That would have counted.
Abisher touches it. And now the penalty issued.
Well, here's Carter coming in and holds onto the puck and trying to outpatient Abisher as the puck goes off the post and then through the legs of McLean, who was back checking hard, and Lyles is there and he falls down. But let's take a look at this shot that goes off of Ald as Carter races, one of the faster players in the league. McLean trying to take position, and Carter showing good patience. And Abisher, look how far out he is. Trying to cut down the angle. Good job by both players, Abisher and Carter. And Abisher won that battle even though he got help from the post.
That's how first goal scored by a goalie was scored accidentally against the Colorado Rockies by Billy Smith. Tanguay off for hooking. 3 minutes and 59 seconds into this second period.
2 minutes hooking, 3:59.
Canucks and Avalanche tied at 1. Naslund leads Vancouver with 9 power play goals, but they missing his presence tonight. Salo, the other leader, also at 9. There he is, cranky. Loxton and blocking. Anson Carter also has 8. Linden the shot, bothered by Loxton. Kicked ahead by Clark. Joe Sakic will calmly clear it.
And as we see Linden going off there, he took the position of Naslund on that power play. So Ruutu, Linden, Burrows have all played there now.
Steve McCarthy accidentally shoots it out of play. You can do that in the offensive zone without being penalized.
Well, I think that one may have been tipped also as it goes out of the offensive zone there of the Vancouver Canucks. But as Joel Quinville looks on here, saying, let's go, guys. We got to get it going here. We can't let this one slip away. So we'll see if the Vancouver Canucks can make this a 2-1 game for them.
Matthias Oland has it, but only for a bit. Hayduk on the steal and the clear to follow. Shots 14 and 11. Favor of the Avalanche, down to 40 seconds to go in Vancouver's power play. McCarthy and Oland back on the points. Now it's the Sedin twins up front. This is a usual line combination along with Anson Carter on his power play. And Oland has to regroup.
Well, Vancouver's having a difficult time getting set up in the zone. They look a little discombobulated there, just trying to get up and set up. Puck's rolling over their sticks as it did to Oland there, but the Sedins with Carter have been creating a lot of offense. They're not doing a lot right here.
Oland going to the bench, gets hit with a puck. Should have we seen too many men on the ice?
Well, yeah, I think he had one step in the box of his bench there, so I think that's why there was no call.
Power play is over for the Canucks. Krastich hammers it in. A cable cam look at Brian Allen, pestered by Bugner. Richardson out on the point. Ossi Vaninen down to Richardson. Bugner, one-timer, whiffs on it, and Green tries to clear, gets it by Bugner, but not Blake. Rob Blake right back over the line on the attack. Bugner off of Brad May, squirting to Brian Allen in Vancouver. In a confused manner, comes to center. Blake guarding the blue line, slides it right back in off the stick of May. Alex Auld, with a lot of heat around him, is forced to cover it up. Down to 13:08 to go. Ian LaPerriere and Ryan Kessler, a beautiful bout. Canucks and Avalanche tied at 1, sitting next to John Van Beesbrook. They know him well here in Denver, Colorado. Down the road at Old McNichols Arena, 1996 Stanley Cup playoffs. A heroic goaltending effort from yourself, John. I know you don't like to gloat, but it was an epic series. You fell to the Avalanche 4 straight, but the games were pretty entertaining at the old Miami Arena and McNichols Arena, 2 arenas not used anymore.
Yeah, it was certainly a fun time in my career, and a lot of stories, you know, come through that. And one of them is that shaking hands at the end of a triple overtime game after losing the Stanley Cup Finals, even though we lost in 4. You know, Patrick Waugh shook my hand and he said, "Sorry again, Beezer," because it seemed like every time we were stopped, I was stopped by the great Patrick Waugh.
He said sorry to many people, but they were by far the favorites.
He's a funny guy.
Clark will tap it back to center. Brett McLean will shoot it in, and he gets railroaded along the wall. And the fans up in arms here in Colorado. Takeaway, Tanguay. Can't get the wraparound attempt off.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see who Vancouver goes after in response to Ryan Kessler losing that bout to Ian LaPerriere, because that's a mismatch. Kessler's a puck control scoring type of centerman, a young guy in the league. We'll see if there's any payback.
Hayduk in, deep, shoots. What a stop! Alex Auld on Milan Hayduk.
And what a save that was. Patience by Alex Auld as one of the premier goal scorers in the league. Milan Hayduk shows backhand, forehand, and right into the glove of Auld. And look at his positioning. Staying patient in the middle of the net is the key. Hayduk pulls it to his forehand and in the glove. Good positioning by Auld. His size makes up the difference, and we still have a 1-1 game.
Blake's shot is blocked. Blake again, Auld. Position A1 to make the save, and there's no rebound.
Well, it certainly is exciting for me to see young goalies stepping up in this game. Not only in this game, but in the league. But Alex Auld has showed some brilliance here on the road in a difficult building to win in a battle in the Northwest Division, and he's holding his ground strong.
Auld has been the man in the nets for Vancouver since the injury to Dan Cloutier back on November 20th. His 28th start in the last 31 games for Alexander Auld, and so far standing tall in the Canuck goal.
And on the flip side of that, Milan Hajduk has 33 points this year, and that's not enough for Milan Hajduk. I know he's been injured and suffered through some problems, but he's got to step it up for the Colorado Avalanche.
Lyle's shot stopped by Alexander Auld, perhaps Milan Hajduk, and maybe a few of the other forwards for the Avalanche, missing the presence and the attention and focus that always went on Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, and as we see this shot come through the point, Alex Auld sees it all the way, and there's Hajduk waiting for the rebound to come out, but Milan Hajduk does miss Peter Forsberg. He's got 13 goals this year, and he's a past 30 goal scorer. I think they expect him to get 40 to 50.
Former 50 goal scorer Milan Hajduk, Andrew Burnett, Antti Laaksonen. Two forwards, in the high slot. The third man high is Richardson. He wears number 12, but it's Ryan Kessler. Off the stick of Burrows. The veteran Trevor Linden gets it back for the Canucks. Drop pass to Allen. A little too far in front of him. Brian Allen, high slot, whips on the backhand. Now the forehand deflected wide by Burrows. Trevor Linden, pretty effective game for the 35-year-old. Burrows can't knock it down.
Yeah, and they have to have the leadership of Trevor Linden. We talk so much of Naslund about not being in the lineup, but that last shift, it's good to see Ryan Kessler coming back with a strong shift after a mismatch bout against LaPerriere.
David Abisher sweeps it up the boards. Tanguay can't move it out. See the shots on goal. The Avalanche with a pretty large advantage by 10 with 10:20 to go in the second. Spatos firing off the leg of Olin and wide. Alex Tanguay only averaging just under 2 shots a game is Tanguay. A little reluctant to shoot, even though he's got a great shot, but also a nice passer is Tanguay. There is pass, caroms off a leg to Brett Clark. Flick down low to McLean. Spatos fires, fought off by Alexander Auld. The Avalanche, they're beginning to heat up, but all their chances, Alexander Auld has the answers, including a stellar stop on none other than Milan Hajduk. Still tied, 9:52 to go in this second period. It's good to see John Michael Lyles back on the ice for the Colorado Avalanche after taking a high stick in the first period, a couple stitches.
Yeah, talking to John Michael Lyles today, the morning skate after in the dressing room, talking to him about being from Indiana. How do you become a professional hockey player from Indiana, as we see Kessler's stick graze the corner of his face and eye there. Fortunately for him, he's wearing a visor. And John Michael Lyles saying, well, we had to get up pretty early in the morning and drive to your hometown of Detroit to play some competitive hockey. And John Michael Lyles certainly played some competitive hockey at Michigan State University for 4 years, played with some great hockey players, and Ryan Miller, who's a standout now for Buffalo.
Spatos in, and that shot's blocked.
Yeah, it was good to talk to him. It was wonderful, wonderful time with John whatever I'm trying to say, Lyles.
John Michael Lyles. Oh, the stop, rebound, he also takes care of. Delayed penalty coming to Vancouver. And it will be a hooking call against the Canucks.
And it's been all Avalanche here as we see this chance coming to Auld as he kicks his leg out, and then the rebound comes. And Alex Auld is at the top of the crease as we see Tanguay going down, but Spatos makes a nice little dish to Sakic. And as I believe Tanguay goes in, or Laaksonen goes in, he's tripped. Avalanche on the power play.
And right off the draw, Matthias Olin clears it down the ice. Ruutu and Kessler, the forward penalty killers for Vancouver. Brisebois and Clark back on the points. Andrew Burnett Brett McLean and Milan Hayduk, the forward power play unit for Joel Quenneville's Colorado Avalanche.
And it was a short-handed goal by Matthias Olin in the first that tied the game up. So the penalty killing of the Vancouver Canucks is doing the job here against the Colorado Avalanche. Let's see if they can keep it up as they send the puck down the ice. It's such a key part to have good penalty killing, especially on the road.
Spatos, ridden into the wall by Sami Salo. Perfect defensive coverage there by the big Swedish-born defender.
And I know the crowd there wants a call, but that's just solid play by Sami Salo, who just rode Spatos to the boards there and wouldn't allow him to take position.
52 seconds to go in the Avalanche power play, approaching the final 8 minutes of the second period. Joe Sakic, Marek Spatos. Off the inboards, Alex Tanguay, who leads the Avalanche this season with 60 points. Blake fires, thunders off the pad of Alex Auld. There are the quick reflexes. Sometimes they look like little pinball flippers that John Van Beesbrook touched on, the quick legs of Alex Auld.
Certainly keeping him in the game here in the second period.
Sakic, LaPerriere, waits, wraparound, Auld answers, rebound to the boards, Ian LaPerriere again. Feathers it in front, McCarthy to the wall, not out, Tanguay, centers, LaPerriere a whack at it, blocked at the defense, and it's Kessler off the wall, short-handed. Alex Burrows, Kessler goes to the net, power play is over. Ian LaPerriere trying to set up Loxley. Chopped wide by Lyles, hits the protective netting, and it's finally time to take a breath. The action has been end-to-end as that Avalanche power play failed to convert.
Well, it certainly did fail to convert as we take a look at Lyles on the bench talking over what they need to do, what's going wrong on that power play, how we need to get the puck to the net. But Vancouver deserves the credit with Alex Auld leading the way in there, making a couple more good saves, but good positioning by the Vancouver defenseman, Sami Salo and company.
Penalty coming to the Canucks. As Skrastins was taken down. There goes Abisher to the bench for the extra attacker.
And they're going to like this call because it's going to be on Todd Bertuzzi, who just used his strength, but it was too much, and he pulled I don't know who it was, but he just pulled him down.
Believe it was on Skrastins. We'll see a replay of that. Listen to the reaction of Bertuzzi.
And here we see Bertuzzi and his strength. He just pulls, you're right, Skrastins down. And that was, again, offensive zone. Puck's going to the red line, and whoop, down he goes. And Todd Bertuzzi should know better than that. Veteran player, the team's on the road. Holding penalty in the neutral zone. Uncalled for. There's nothing happening at that point. You can change, you can do whatever you want, but don't pull anybody down.
So the Avalanche will see if they can make Todd Bertuzzi pay.
Well, you can kill a couple off, but 3 in a row is very difficult to kill off.
Hayduk streaking in. Can't find the man to center it to, so he rags it back to Blake on the point, paired up with Lyles, Hayduk, Brunette, and McLean up front. That's fought off in front, and the Canucks shoot it back to center.
And a simple thing, but that shot by Blake straight on, where'd the rebound go? Right to the corner.
Lyles.
Alex Auld is in control.
Linden. Morrison can't get to it, but he doesn't have to. And an offside on Colorado during this power play. Still 68 seconds remain.
Well, Matthias Olin and Sami Salo are seeing the most ice time, but the Vancouver Canucks are doing a fine job of boxing out and allowing Alex Auld to see the pucks. As we take a look at Matthias Olin, who's an assistant captain and picking up a lot of the ice time for the absence of Eddie Jovanovski, who is questionable probably now for the Canadian Olympic team.
There's some questions in the Canadian blue line with injuries. Brisebois shot, all the stop. Kept in on the point. Clark to Brisebois. 45 seconds to go. Brett Clark. Alex Tanguay, Clark shooting wide. Bieksa up, not out. Alex Tanguay straight away. Brisebois snapshot. Stopped in front by Brian Allen. 25 seconds remain in the advantage. Tanguay patiently centering, poked away. Brisebois intended for Clark, gobbled up by Ruutu. And he'll break away shorthanded, but the problem is he and his teammates are exhausted.
A good pickoff by Ruutu, but he needed to get that puck down the ice and just go for a change. Trying to do a little bit too much there, maybe.
Avalanche power play is history. Bertuzzi back on the ice.
Another big kill by the Vancouver Canucks.
4.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Joe Sakic. Ian LaPerriere, joined by Loxonen up front. Blake, the wrist shot. Off the leg, harmlessly to the boards. Daniel Sedin trying to clear. Krastic has other ideas. Finally, Sedin takes and the puck out to center. Bertuzzi, drop pass. Daniel Sedin fires. Abisher answers back after not seeing some action for a while.
Oh, and that was a nice play by Bertuzzi. A little backhand dish to Sedin coming in, who held it on his backhand. And David Abisher, not called on much this period, made a brilliant save.
Brisebois
with his left leg. Sorry about that.
Action getting quite intense here late
fun.
in the
It's
second.
fun.
Our great HDNet crew, John Van Beesbrook, Dan Kelly, good to have you along. Of course, the beautiful shots from our cable camera and our mini cameras here situated in Denver. Loose puck, Carter after it, pushing it ahead. Anson, Carter, dancing, and puts it wide. Richardson, stood up by Brian Allen. Nolan Baumgartner, nice pass to Bertuzzi. No support though for Todd Bertuzzi. Coming in, it's Tyler Belk, and Abisher the stop. Bertuzzi's weak shot is blocked. Brett McLean off the glass out to center. Driven back in by Belk. Vancouver is offside. 2:45 to go in the second period. Poor David Abisher. He hadn't seen the puck forever, but he looked calm and cool on young Daniel Sedin's break-in.